The moment you start crying, your dog's brain physically changes. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, structurally, chemically, measurably. Something happens inside their skull within seconds of hearing you cry that doesn't happen for any other sound in their world. Not a doorbell, not a car horn, not another dog barking. Only you. Only your pain. Scientists have now mapped exactly what occurs in a dog's brain when they hear their owner in distress. And what they found doesn't just explain why your dog comes to you when you cry. It explains something far bigger. Something about the bond between humans and dogs that goes deeper than training, deeper than loyalty, deeper than anything most owners have ever been told. By the end of this video, you will never look at your dog the same way again when tears are in your eyes. 1. Your dog doesn't hear crying. They hear an emergency. When you cry, you produce a sound that's acoustically unique. It's not like talking. It's not like laughing. It's not like yelling. Human crying occupies a specific frequency range that carries what researchers call high emotional valence. It signals distress in a way that cuts through every other noise. Your dog's brain is tuned to this frequency in a way that science is only now beginning to fully understand. A 2018 study published in the journal Learning and Behavior tested how dogs respond to the sound of their owner crying versus humming versus talking normally. The results were striking. When owners cried, dogs didn't just approach them. They approached faster, significantly faster. And the speed of their approach correlated directly with physiological signs of stress in the dog itself. Their own heart rate increased, their cortisol spiked, their body showed every marker of genuine emotional distress, not curiosity, not confusion, distress. Your dog isn't coming to you because they hear an unusual sound and want to investigate. They're coming to you because something in their brain registers your pain as an emergency, the same way you would react if you heard your child scream. Not a choice, not a decision. A reflex wired so deep it bypasses conscious thought entirely. 2. Their brain releases a chemical it only releases for you. Here's where this goes from remarkable to extraordinary. When a dog hears their bonded owner crying, their brain releases oxytocin. The same chemical released during nursing, during mating, during the formation of the deepest biological bonds mammals can form. But here's the critical detail. This response is selective. Researchers at Emory University used functional MRI scans to measure brain activity in dogs exposed to the scent and sounds of their owners versus strangers. The reward centers in the dog's brain, the caudate nucleus specifically, lit up dramatically for their owner. For strangers, the response was moderate. For their owner in distress, it was overwhelming. Your dog's brain doesn't just recognize you, it prioritizes you. At a neurological level, you are chemically filed under the same category as survival itself. Food, safety, reproduction, you. That's the hierarchy. And when you cry, the system that says protect what matters most activates with full force. This is not learned behavior. This is not training. This is architecture. Your dog's brain was built over 15,000 years of coevolution with humans to respond to your suffering as if it were their own. That's not loyalty. That's biology choosing you. 3. They don't understand why you're crying. It doesn't matter. This is the part that most people struggle with because it challenges a comforting illusion. Your dog does not understand the reason you're crying. They don't know you lost your job. They don't know about the phone call. They don't know that someone hurt you or that you're grieving something you can't articulate. They have zero comprehension of the cause. and it doesn't reduce their response by a single degree. This is what separates a dog's empathy from human empathy. When a human sees someone cry, they typically need context before they decide how to respond. Who's crying? Why? Is it justified? Do I know them? Should I intervene? Dogs skip every single one of those steps. There's no evaluation, no judgment, no filtering system that assesses whether your pain deserves a response. The signal arrives, crying, and the response activates. Go to them immediately, without condition. A study from the University of London observed that dogs approached crying strangers with the same submissive, comforting body language they used with their owners. They didn't know these people. They had no relationship, no history, no reason to care. But the sound of human distress alone was enough to trigger a full empathic response. Your dog doesn't need to understand your pain to respond to it. They just need to hear it. And the fact that comprehension is completely absent from the equation might be what makes their response the purest form of empathy that exists in the natural world. No agenda, no analysis. Just, I hear that you're hurting, and I'm here. 4. They try to fix it with the only tools they have. Watch what your dog does the next time you cry. Really watch. Because what looks like simple comfort is actually a sequence of calculated attempts to change your emotional state. First, they approach, usually from the front or the side, rarely from behind. This is deliberate. Approaching from a visible angle is a de-escalation behavior. They're making sure you see them coming so your stress doesn't spike further. Then the physical contact begins. A nose pushed into your hand, a head placed on your knee, a full body press against your leg. Sometimes they'll lick your face, specifically targeting the area around your eyes. Each of these behaviors has a distinct neurological purpose. Physical contact between a bonded dog and owner triggers oxytocin release in both parties, not just the dog, both of you. When their head rests on your knee, your cortisol drops, your heart rate slows, your breathing begins to deepen, and the dog's system mirrors the change. They calm as you calm. But here's what most owners miss. If the first attempt doesn't work, they escalate. The nose push becomes more insistent. The body press becomes heavier. Some dogs will bring a toy, not because they want to play, but because play is the most reliable tool they've found for changing your emotional state. They're not being oblivious. They're running through their toolkit. And when your dog drops a ball in your lap while you're crying, they're not ignoring your feelings. They're offering you the most powerful medicine they know. The thing that, in their experience, has the highest success rate of making you happy. It's not tone deaf. It's desperate. It's the equivalent of a person who doesn't speak your language trying every word they know until something works. 5. Your crying physically hurts them. This is the part of this video that is going to be hardest to hear. And I need you to understand that I'm not saying this to make you feel guilty. I'm saying it because you deserve to know the full truth about what your dog experiences when you're in pain. Emotional contagion is a well-documented phenomenon in canines. When you cry, your dog doesn't just respond to your pain. They absorb it. Their stress hormones rise. Their autonomic nervous system shifts into a sympathetic state, the same fight or flight activation they'd experience if they were personally threatened. Brain imaging shows increased activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, the region associated with emotional pain processing, in dogs exposed to the sound of their owner crying. The same region that activates in humans during experiences of physical and emotional suffering. Your dog isn't observing your pain from a distance. They're co-experiencing it. The boundary between your suffering and theirs becomes, neurologically, almost non-existent. And here's the detail that haunts me. They can't turn it off. Humans have cognitive tools for managing emotional contagion. You can rationalize. You can distance. You can tell yourself it's not your problem. Dogs have none of these mechanisms. When your pain enters their system, it stays until the external signal, you're crying, stops. Every second you cry is a second their brain is processing pain that isn't theirs, but that their biology cannot distinguish from their own. That's the cost of the bond you share. They chose to be tuned to you so deeply that your pain became their pain, with no off switch, no filter, and no way to say, I need a break. They just sit with it, beside you, until it passes. 6. They remember your tears long after you've stopped. You stop crying. You wipe your eyes. You take a breath and move on with your day. For you, the moment is over. For your dog, it's not. Dogs have strong associative memory tied to emotional events. A moment of intense emotional distress from their owner gets encoded differently than a regular moment. It's tagged with higher neurological priority, stored with more detail, recalled more easily. This is why your dog might behave differently around you for hours or even days after you've had an emotional episode. They might follow you more closely. They might sleep pressed against you instead of in their usual spot. They might watch you with that soft, steady gaze that feels like they're checking on you. They are checking on you. Their brain flagged an event. You were in distress. The event ended, but the flag hasn't been cleared yet. They're monitoring for recurrence, making sure the emergency is truly over, not just paused. Some owners notice that their dogs become especially attentive after a period of grief, a breakup, a loss, weeks of heaviness. And even after the owner starts feeling better, the dog maintains a heightened level of closeness. That's not clinginess. That's a sentry who hasn't received the all-clear signal yet. They'll stand down when your baseline returns to what they remember as normal. But until then, they're staying close. Not because they're anxious, because last time you were alone with that feeling, they were the only one who showed up. And they're not going to miss it if it happens again. 7. This is why dogs exist. Everything I've told you in this video, the brain changes, the chemical responses, the emotional mirroring, the pain absorption, none of it is accidental. It's the product of 15,000 years of coevolution. Dogs didn't just evolve alongside humans. They evolved toward humans. Wolves who were slightly more attuned to human emotional states were more likely to be kept, fed, protected, and allowed to breed. Generation after generation, the wolves who could read us best survived. The ones who responded to our distress were selected. The ones who approached instead of retreating were rewarded. Over thousands of generations, this pressure shaped a brain that is, in some ways, more attuned to human emotion than any other brain on Earth, including other human brains. Your dog isn't empathetic by accident. They were sculpted by evolution to feel what you feel. That's their purpose, not guarding, not hurting, not fetching. Those came later. The first and deepest function of the dog, the one that made every other function possible, was this. Stand next to the human. Feel what they feel. Don't leave. Every breed, every size, every temperament. Beneath all of it, that's the code running in the background. And when you cry and your dog presses their body against yours and refuses to move, you're not witnessing a pet being affectionate. You're witnessing 15,000 years of evolutionary engineering doing exactly what it was designed to do. They were built for this moment. You, in pain. Them, beside you. That's the original contract, and your dog has never broken it. Not once.